Morning of day 5. It's a little bit before 6 a.m. Trying to get an early start to beat the heat. Saying goodbye to White Laggan Bothy, which turned out to be a good spot. Yeah, it's morning. The birds are singing. The fog is billowing. And the temperature is blessedly cool. It's the main reason I'm up this freaking early. Because I want to get a head start on the heat. I've been wrong about mileages this whole trip. So when I say I think something is a certain number of miles, I'm probably wrong. But today, I think that I have 14 miles to the town of Dalry. When I get there, I'm leaning strongly towards getting a room at the Laggan Inn, even though it's a bit spendy. I kind of need a reset, not physically so much as like just infrastructurally. My battery bank has no power left in it, and that will take a couple hours to charge, as well as charging up my phone and everything else. Washing clothes would be nice. I don't know if that's going to be possible in a really small village, but I can at least do it like in the sink. Washing my cook kit. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Just kind of that stuff. And if I start this early, 14 miles should be done in the early afternoon if I make good progress and if the heat doesn't get too crazy. Man, this is a beautiful place. A beautiful but cruel place. So that's my plan, get to Dalry. And if I get there and I'm feeling good, I'm feeling strong, I want to keep going, I could do another 3 miles to a wild camp by a creek. That will make tomorrow shorter, because tomorrow is going to be maybe the crux of the whole trip. Tomorrow it's supposed to be up to 84. Yesterday, for comparison, said it was only like 78, but it felt hot as hell. So I'm expecting tomorrow's heat to be the most unpleasant of the 3 days. And it's 17 miles over up and down hills, with the up and down hills being in the afternoon when it's hottest. So if I do stay in Dalry at the Laggan Inn, I will have to make an early start like I'm making right now, because I can bust out 17 miles pretty fast if I've got all things firing the right way. Mud. But I want to basically leave myself some good options, so I'm not forced into something I don't want to do. All right, I had heard this bridge over White Laggan Burn. Remember, burn is the Scottish word for creek. I'd heard that this bridge was closed because they were doing construction on it. And, when I look at it, I don't see a sign that says, "Don't walk over this." I also see tire tracks heading up to it and going over it. So it doesn't look like they've closed it to walking. It looks like they've broken down the old stuff and are getting ready to put on the new stuff. So, interesting. Wow, that would have been a nice swimming pool yesterday. So it looks like I can walk over it. Huh. Very interesting. Yeah, they were saying that people might have to wade the creek or something, and that would be unpleasant. Huh. Would have been a nice campsite right there if you didn't want to go up to the Bothy. Okay, y'all. It's time for some track walking, and I am ready for this morning. Just some fast walking where my feet's not getting wet and it's not too steep. Sign me up. There's the Bothy way back there, where I spent the night. This is Loch Dee, the headwaters of one of two different Dee rivers in Scotland. And that's the pass that I came over from Glentrool yesterday afternoon. Just heard from a gent who's out here bike packing, because this road here going across into Glentrool is a very popular bike packing and mountain biking route. He was saying a couple things about my route ahead. One, the wild camping possibilities past Dalry are not good. And the one that I've been looking at is 3 miles past Dalry, at a little creek. But I have no idea whether it's wild campable or not. It might be 4-foot long grass and nowhere to put down a tent. He also encouraged me, if I want to stay at Dalry, to try and call the Laggan Inn to confirm that they have vacancy, because it's not a big hotel. But he spoke well of it in terms of a good pub. He also said that the Bothy that I'm going to tomorrow night, Thursday night, at the end of the last hot day, is a very nice Bothy and even has a guitar in it. So I'm excited to hear that news. One of the people who watches these videos when I go on trips is my good friend Eric Keeney, who lives in Colorado with his wife Kelly, and they run a ranch with horses and everything else. And one of the things they do that I love when I've visited there is when they're sitting around dinner, they go around before they eat and say what they're grateful for. And I think some intentional gratitude practice like that is a really important thing for people to bring into their lives, especially when things are tough, like when you're hiking across the country. So let me catch up to where I am right now. I'm grateful that on day one, when I got to Castle Kennedy, the bus was there within about 4 minutes to whisk me quickly and safely to Stranraer. On day two, I'm grateful for Beehive Bothy, which gave me a comfortable place with a picnic table and a nice campsite to recover from that difficult second day. On day three, I'm grateful for the hot shower, the endless hot shower that I had at the Galloway Forest Holiday Park. Even though that's not the best campsite, the showers were dope. And day four yesterday, I'm grateful for the 2 cafes along the way that helped me stave off the menace of the heat a little bit, where I got to have sandwiches and cold drinks and ice cream and things like that. That was a major physical and mental boost. As for today, we'll see. The day is young. Okay, since the first part of the trail is a little bit samey and not a whole lot going on, I need to do something to keep my mind busy. So I'm going to run through my daily self-check. So how are my feet? Surprisingly pretty well. These Ultra shoes, you can tell they have a very wide toe box. So they're good for my wide feet and my fat toes. Scrunched, unhappy toes are not an infrequent thing on big trips. So they're doing fine. These shoes do, however, irritate the backs of my heels. So I've gotten some Compede, which is, I don't know if it's a British product, but it's a really good product for blisters and hot spots. You just kind of stick it on and it sort of looks like a bubbled, cushioned version of your skin. It just kind of sits there and protects it and heals it. So I've got that on each heel, and they feel happy right now. The balls of my feet is another place that can get beat up after a lot of walking, and it's usually something that just progressively gets more so as the trip goes on, especially with long miles of pounding roads like this. They're fine, not to the point where I need to do anything about it, but I could definitely tell that they're sore. Now, body, legs feel good. Yesterday I was feeling a little weak with the heat towards the end of the day, but legs feel good, nothing hurts. They have lots of midge bites, but that's a separate issue. And head, better than yesterday. Definitely an uptick from yesterday. When it got hot and I was starting to feel pretty cruddy, and I was looking at 2 more hot days ahead of it, I was like, oh geez. And I started to go into a little bit of a worry spiral. So I just let that run itself out. Had a decent night of sleep and feeling better about things today. My best hope is that I get a room at the Clockin' Inn. If not, there's a place to camp in town for free, which would be still okay. I think the idea of continuing past and wild camping 3 miles later is off the list. So I have no guarantee that it would be doable. And I'd rather have something comfortable and knowable. All right, that's my self-check. Let's make some more miles. Clattering Shaw's Lock, a rather large reservoir. Pretty soon, I'm going to be turning off of this track. Well, not turning off of it, but the track itself will be turning up away from the loch and begin a climb over a ridge into the next dale to the north. And then I descend that dale to Dalry. I'm guessing that the top of the climb will be about the halfway point of the day. Right now I'm about 5 miles. Continuing to make good time. Okay, 6 miles in at 8 o'clock. Making good time. Let's see. This is a pickup point for people who don't want to do the long distances between towns and villages and B&Bs and that kind of stuff. So you can get the people you're staying with to come pick you up here and then take you back into town and then drop you off here again. The route continues up here down this lane for a step, and then it's going to turn up to the right and climb up over this low ridge. Doesn't look like that big of a climb. And it only looks to be maybe a mile and a half long. And once I'm at the top of that, I will probably take the first big break of the day. Maybe the only big break of the day. Okay, time for the first and longer of 2 segments of trail today. This will slow things down a bit, but that's okay. That was a lot of road. Up there somewhere. As I squelch through this boggy fen, I'm reminded of something I read about this section of trail, or the trail coming up in the guidebook. It said once you get to Dalry, because you are getting further away from the west coast and all its wet weather, stuff like this where you just have long sections of trail that are boggy and muddy, those tend to disappear and you get more grassy trails instead of boggy trails. So once I get past Dalry, I'm looking forward to that starting to happen more and more. This right here isn't bad. And I've kind of made my peace with the boggy stuff, as long as it doesn't get too crazy. So far this climb has been pretty pleasant. Not a bad bit of trail. And the rangers have been out here to mow it sometime in the not too distant past. And it's a exceedingly gentle grade. Yeah, liking this a lot. Well, I missed my first kist. Somewhere between here and the last trail post, there was a little hoard hidden. I couldn't find it in any of the obvious spots and didn't really feel like looking anywhere else. So, somewhere in there is a jar full of coins. I, however, am working steadily towards my high point. Not much in the way of shade around these parts. But I'm doing the best I can. 8 miles in, roughly. Most of the day is done and it's only 9 a.m. That's exactly how I wanted to hit this. Downhill from here into the next dale and then onto a track, which I'll follow until near the end where I have to climb over a steep hill, but that'll be short. Okay, took about a 40-minute break there until just sitting in the sun got to be a little bit too much. It's not hot yet, but I'm not a fan of sitting in the sun unless it's just cold. I like shade. Pretty soon I'm going to start to descend and be kind of more trail like this, where it's just between signposts and it's a little footpath. And then eventually I'll cross a burn and get to a track that goes past a bunch of farms. And like most tracks, it gets more substantial as it goes further down the glen. And that'll be the case for the next few miles. Only in the last couple miles of the day do I go back onto a trail again to climb steeply over a hill. But that's not for a while. Sorry, I have the hiccups. Kind of want to see what's over this hill, don't you? Okay, still continuing this lane walk down whatever glen this is. It's become very lush and foresty, and there's been some nice farms. I'm about to go off the lane onto a trail that crosses the creek and then climbs over a steep hill. Just a short climb though, and on the other side of that climb is Dalry. And I think, knock on wood, that I've successfully reserved a room at the Laggan Inn. It was a bit of a chore trying to do that on my phone with a marginal signal, but I think I got it. So if that's the case, I'm going to be a happy boy. All right, here we go. The climb will be short, but I imagine steep and unpleasant in the sun. The summit view will be lovely, and the descent down to Dalry will be victorious. Lovely little spot. Climbing up on Waterside Hill, I've got Dalry in my sights. of fish and chips, I'll eat my fill, and I'll probably have a couple of pints. Yeah, we're close, baby. Just had a nice chat with a lad of about 17. Didn't catch his name, but he was just out hiking Waterside Hill. I guess it's a common day hike for people in the area. And he was very interested in what I was doing and why'd you come over here from America and what's it like. And yeah, it was fun having a little chat. And he assured me that the food is, in fact, quite good at the Laggan Inn. And he strongly encouraged me, for a starter, to have something called Scotch egg. I don't know what it is. One might assume that it involves eggs, but I also know that British cuisine is not always what it appears. So it could be bull's testicles for all I know. But working my way down to the lovely town of Dalry. The Water of Ken. And the town, ooh, this is bouncy. The town of, well, the official name is St. John's Town of Dalry, but most people just call it Dalry. And of course it's uphill at the end. Okay, I got my room at the Laggan Inn, which is lovely and comfortable. I've got a cozy little bathroom off to the side. Ooh, a tub. And I'm not sure what's going on here, in case I need to lock anything away. And I'm overlooking the beer garden, and I should probably close my windows because I'm about to take a shower. Oh boy, am I glad to be here. And I got to check in about 2 hours early, so plenty of time before dinner and plenty of time to decide what tomorrow's going to be like.